My wife beat cancer and wants a hall pass to spread her legs to her coworker. Now she's in disbelief that I am throwing our marriage out the window. My wife and I have been married since 2001 and together since 1999. She is the most intelligent, thoughtful, caring, loyal person I know, and I have always thought of myself as fortunate to have met and married her. She is, even today, aesthetically beautiful, and men have told her this throughout our marriage. She has always shot them down. Earlier this year she was diagnosed with uterine cancer, stage 1, and had a full hysterectomy. I was never concerned about the cancer. It was diagnosed early, dealt with quickly, and she made a full recovery. I took time off work to look after her after the surgery, and all seemed well. There were some to be expected emotional instances on her part, and although I am not an emotional person, we dealt with them together. After her recovery, she was insistent that we start living life to the fullest, and took a 10-day trip to Europe, followed by a trip to Belize. We also have a trip to the UK and Spain, Portugal later this year. I am fine with these things, building memories and crossing bucket list adventures off our list. I also understand that these are a result of feeling fragile on her part. She also took up yoga, swimming, and healthy cooking classes. I was fully on board until last week. Last week she came home from work and told me she wanted a hall pass. A one-time opportunity for her to have sex with someone else besides me. She said that since her cancer diagnosis her outlook on life has changed and she doesn't want to be handcuffed from doing things she wants to. She explained that there is this guy at her work that she has always had some attraction to. He is leaving the company and she will never see him again, so this is the perfect opportunity to sleep with someone else. She said that I could say no, of course, but that she would be mad disappointed at me for an indeterminate amount of time, and that it would be confirmation of my male toxicity and insecurity. I don't consider myself to be toxic, and if not wanting your wife of 20 plus years to have sex with someone else is insecure, then I guess I am insecure. I told her that I appreciated her talking to me about this, but approval via coercion is not approval. I also said that I do not appreciate her language in describing my, as of yet, unknown reaction to this very large issue that could affect the rest of our marriage life. When I got up in the morning, she basically said that she was sorry for putting such a large decision solely on my shoulders, and that to help, she was taking the decision away from me. She booked a hotel near where her coworkers are having a party, send-off for this guy, and she would spend the night there, with him, and hoped that I would be here when she got back. That she would answer any questions I have about the night after it happened, but not before. She will not tell me who he is or anything about him, because she knows me too well, and that I will dwell and obsess over him, and that would make it too real for me, which is pretty accurate. Her POV is that the less I know the better, which contradicts the offer to tell me anything I want to know after it happened. I think she knows I don't want to know, ask anything, or she simply will not tell me. Part of me thinks, at least she has been honest with me and she has been through a lot since finding out she had cancer, so maybe I should just let it happen. I certainly have no concept of what she went through, so I cannot dismiss how this affected her mental state, outlook on life. Part of me wants to put my foot down and say this is not going to happen and deal with those consequences when they happen. Her BFF called me callous for even suggesting that I wouldn't let it happen because I have no idea what she went through. I find it hard to believe that she is okay with the possibility of throwing away 20 plus years of marriage over some guy that she has had no relationship with outside of work, and that I should just call her bluff. Maybe she thinks similarly that I won't throw away the marriage because of one encounter. I just don't know what to do. I empathize with her, and then an instant later I am angry with her. Part of me wants to know who this guy is. What does he look like? What has he got that is so enthralling for her? Is he just a safe option? Is he married? Does his wife know? Would I be a callous asshole for saying no? What can I do besides walking away? Update 1. It has been an exhausting couple of days. I was hoping that my opposition to her plans would give her pause, but unfortunately that did not happen. I said I am a hard no, and I am not sure how I will feel about you if you go ahead with it. I was met once again with, this is for me, it will be one time, what can I say to help you deal with it, you'll get over it. We were meant to be regardless of the situation, remarks leading up to Saturday. She left Saturday, ostensibly to meet her coworkers, but in reality, the guy. I asked her to text me when she was leaving for the bar, and when she did I asked her if she was really going to go through with this. After her response, I am not answering any more questions tonight, I will see you tomorrow. I blocked my wife. Then I did something either stupid or brilliant. I went to the bar where the get-together was happening. Well, not the bar, but a transit bench across the street. I waited for a long time. It was running through my mind leading up to this event, that I needed to know who this guy was, maybe to compare myself against him. To see what he had that I do not. It was driving me crazy not knowing who he was and what was so special about him that she would ruin a marriage for. After what seemed like eternity, a woman that I recognized from my wife's office left the bar and got in a cab. Soon other people started filing out and a whole group came out and people were hugging a man and shaking his hand. I assumed that I had my guy. I didn't see my wife and had a brief thought that maybe she called it all off. I unblocked her and there were no messages. Everyone said their goodbyes and left. Dude was standing outside for a few minutes and then my wife came out. She looked around, took his hand and started walking away together. Of all the emotions I went through, trepidation, sadness, anger, it was disgust that really encapsulated the event for me. This guy was short, fat and bald, all the things I cannot compete with. Ultimately, I felt like a pervert for watching from a distance. I followed until they got to the hotel, and then turned around and went home. I woke up Sunday morning and put a lock on the master bedroom door. I moved her things to the spare room and left a note asking her to find other accommodations as quickly as possible. I visited another friend who is a lawyer, and he gave me some sage advice and a couple of recommendations for divorce attorneys and made introductions. My wife had been calling me numerous times since around 11 or so. Once blocked, the calls go to voicemail. I listened to the first couple but felt nothing but some satisfaction when she couldn't get through to me, and she was obviously becoming concerned. I didn't want to go home, but I left in such a hurry that I didn't plan an overnight properly. I got home around 9 and as per my buddy's advice, I recorded the interaction. I was halfway up the stairs when she came up from the family room asking what was going on. Could we talk? I thought we talked about this? I just answered with I am not interested in discussing this tonight and went to bed. After not getting a response from me through the door, she left me alone. I feel kind of like a child for not talking with her and shutting the door on her, but I just couldn't look at her. Monday I got up and ready for work. She was waiting for me and asked if we could discuss getting back to normal. I said, you have been doing all the talking for the both of us for the last week, why don't you continue, and left for work. I have an appointment with the attorney my friend recommended for this week. Update 2. My lawyer wasn't available for a few days, so I was faced with the reality of having to live with my wife in the interim. I really didn't want to go home and have any discussion, let alone a discussion about our relationship. When I did get home, I was basically ambushed by her friends and my mother-in-law. Instead of taking the remorseful approach, they decided that a full court press was what the situation warranted, and I was basically berated by them. The best friends forever was definitely the ringleader, but all of them decided to say such things as, she's been through a lot, you don't know what she's been through, you have no idea what it is like to face something like this. This was a one-time thing, at least she told you she could have hidden it from you, she will never see the guy again, and my favorite, you are an asshole for what you have been putting her through these last couple of days. I listened with a dumbass smirk on my face, and when there was a lull in their fury, I asked if they were all done now. Then I asked my wife if there was anyone in her circle of friends or anyone else that she forgot to tell about this. I quietly informed all of them that I was going to sit down with their husbands and tell them about how they verbally abused me, shaming me and trying to coerce me into staying with a cheater. After I told them to leave, I said that I had no say in the entire event, and so they have no say in whether I stay or not. My soon-to-be ex-wife sort of apologized. She said that she regretted the entire thing. I said there is a difference between regret and remorse. You regret what happened because of the cause and effect. You have regret because your life will never be the same, our relationship will never be the same, because you were wholly and willfully unconcerned about me and what I wanted. She asked if I had any questions that she would answer now, no matter how disturbing. I said that the one question I do have is why. Not necessarily why this guy, why this low-end, unattractive, unfit guy, but why someone else in the first place. She said that the cancer scared her to her core. She felt like she was rushing toward mortality, and stepping out of that tunnel was appealing. She said that after all this time of being a wife and mother and worrying about family, this was something just for her. An escape. The guy was just someone who was interested in her for a long time, she knew wouldn't say no, and was completely opposite to me. I said if I was going to risk my marriage, the woman would have to be a serious upgrade from you. I told her that I saw you and him coming out of the bar that night. I watched you walk away from the bar hand in hand towards the hotel. I said that you looked too familiar with each other and asked if there was something going on before all this. She said no, but who knows if that is the truth or not. I said that after all our years together, your lack of respect for me was astonishing. I finished by saying that I would never be able to look at myself in the mirror again if I condoned that level of disrespect and stayed with you. I said I hope we can go our separate ways amicably, and that I have an appointment with a lawyer later in the week. I again asked her to find some other accommodations, and she simply said, I am not going anywhere. We are not getting a divorce. I will give you all the time you need and do whatever you need to recover from this. We will get past this. She has asked me to go to marriage counseling, which I refused. Why would I go to counseling? I did nothing to warrant needing a therapist's advice. I had her served and gave her a notice to vacate. The house is my premarital asset. She has moved in with her mom, but I find her constantly coming by to see if I need anything or making suggestions like, what if we had an open relationship only on your side, or threesomes? Which seems kind of desperate and pathetic. Rebuffing her constantly and telling her she has to call to ask permission before coming by, and finally seems to get through to her that there will be no us going forward. She has said that she will drag the divorce out for as long as possible, but so far has been compliant. The worst part of all this is telling my daughter that we are getting a divorce and why. followed closely by her begging me to give her mom another chance. I am not sure I would have been afforded the same consideration if I was the one who was cheating. Update 3. There is not much to report. We are in the process of getting a divorce. However, where we live, we must be legally separated for 1 year. My soon-to-be ex-wife has said that she will give me whatever I want in the divorce if I agree to attend marriage counseling, but I am not interested. There was a bit of back and forth while we worked out what separation looks like in everyday life from this point forward. As a result, we have only just agreed to the confines of the legal separation, so as we move towards defining the divorce language, maybe my stance may change. The house was a premarital asset, so she has no claim to it. The only thing she could go after are my pension, vehicles and vacation property, but I would counter that she has lived rent-free for 20+ years and has her own money plus inheritance from her father. I may have offered a top-up in retirement as she was a stay-at-home mom while our daughter was young, but that would be the most at this point. I received a lot of messages about her friend group and my daughter, so I will clear up any misconceptions now. My daughter isn't taking her mother's side. She has always been a mama's girl, but she is very unhappy with her mom right now. Her initial reaction was just shock and held out hope that we would work through any issues and stay together. Now she accepts that is not going to happen. She has been limiting her interactions with her, but at the end of the day she is still her mom. The friend group husbands were upset at the level of complicity of their wives in aiding and abetting the contact, cheating, and made them cut off my wife, but that seems to have been forgotten at this point. The best friends forever was the ringleader and seems to have taken perverse pleasure in actively creating scenarios where they would be in contact. At the very least encouraging to the point of causing her husband to question her motives. It turns out she didn't like me at all, and this was her way of sticking it to me. I guess she wins. The BFF's husband said that there was some sexting in his wife's messages, but said he is dealing with it. We did meet up with him being apologetic for his wife's complicity, but it is not his fault and just wants to move on. I have decided not to date anyone for a while. I will not be getting married ever again. So that is it. I doubt I will post again unless she wins the lottery and I find it my heart to forgive her.